Hello everyone, a little update on the Caboose propane car. Got a lot of work done on it lately, and it doesn't look a lot different from the last time I showed it to you, so I'll point out some of the little details. At a critical stage here, and I'll explain that in a minute too. So today is a day that I'm going to basically disassemble a lot of it and glue and screw a lot of the pieces together, and it'll dry so that the next major thing is I can start sanding and painting the detail. But let's jump right in and I'll show you some of the features. Last time you saw it, it looked a lot like this. It was just a mock-up. What I've done since, kind of one of the first things, I drilled and tapped and countersunk 1/4 20 threaded holes here in the end frames. So there's 4 flathead or countersunk heads that are holding the chassis, the base of the caboose to the chassis. Also drilled and tapped a hole for the coupler pockets there, and I've got laid out here my Forstner bits that I will be using, and I'll show you why in a minute, but I set those out when I got done work on this late last night. There's another one of the little flathead holes that hold the base of the caboose down to the chassis. There's obviously identical pair on the other side. And then next thing I did, I fitted the roof and to the frame, to the box frame there. I used some metal angle brackets that I bent and screwed in. As you can see, the screws are too long, so in a minute I'm going to get my Dremel out with a little cut-off end and cut these ends off for safety, grind them down. Also, same thing up here on the cupola roof, and you'll see why. If you're wondering that's a little bit of overkill, you'll see why I did that in a minute. So I've got that on the same side over here, and let me show you I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I found some cabinet style hinges like you would use for a kitchen cabinet that have an overlaid inside attachment point, and they also are basically self-closing. So as you can see, I kind of fitted them in, dovetailed them in, whatever you want to call it, so that they fit within the roof line. I kind of needed to do that for them to work properly, but I'll show you that in a second why I did that. So here's the other holes. Hole for I'm going to use a drawbar between, this is the front of the propane car, so there'll be a metal drawbar that connects to the back of my tender, and that's the hole for it. So here's the first feature of operation. I know when I first described and showed this to you, I had envisioned on my cardboard mock-up that I would just remove the entire cupola in order to make adjustments to the gas valves. And I thought, as I got to making this thing, of course I was kind of making it up as I went along, I thought, you know, what you want is quick. So when I found these hinges, look at this, I found a way to just have an opening here. I'll probably put some little screw eyes in here and a string, a little piece of parachute cord to keep this from flopping out too far. But as you can see, I've got the top of the tank and the valves and the hose that all fits neatly in here. And so you can use this main valve just like this is a basic barbecue tank. So the main valve to cut it off, and then this valve to adjust the pressure. So nice, easy access, and I'll probably put a little hook and eye latch or something like that here just so this doesn't flop around, maybe or maybe not, maybe some Velcro, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I really like that quick access, and you know, it looks pretty cool, and it should be easy to use and plenty sturdy with the steel reinforcements on the side. Also, check this out. I made the lid so the entire lid lifts off. Same kind of steel reinforcements here. The bottom of the cupola is screwed into the top of the roof, And as I mentioned, I've got a little piece of parachute cord there to keep it from flopping too far. Same kind of hinges. These are called overlap hinges or overlay hinges, something like that. I got them at Lowe's. It was about $3, I think, for a 2-pack, and really pleased with how that works. These brackets that you see, the angle iron here that you see inside the body of the Caboose, this is actually bed frame angle iron that one of my neighbors a couple months ago was throwing out some giant pieces of bed frame. If you can see them over there, you can see the wheels and stuff. And I asked him if he wanted it, and he said, no, go ahead, take it. So I knew I would have a use for it because, heck, angle iron is expensive, and this was very convenient. I used probably about 4 feet of it in this project, cut up. Those are 3-inch sections, and they're all over inside here to reinforce the body of the propane tank car. So you can see them all over there. Also, I added some 2x4s that will locate the tank, keep it from moving around inside the body of the car, and pretty happy about that because, like I said, it'll keep it in one place. So you can see the connections and all, that just barely enough room for that, and I'll just have to be real careful when I'm opening and closing, make sure I don't mash the gauges there, but it just fits just right. Also, another thing I had done, the Loco Parts hose that comes with the regulator, that's who I got this regulator from. That hose is about 6 feet long, which for some applications may be plenty, but I knew this would be a little bit tight for me. So what I went and done, I found a place yesterday. There's a place in town that makes hydraulic hoses and all sorts of hoses, and they've got a professional crimper. So the guy he found this is basically like a acetylene hose, and he added 4 feet of it, used a thing called a mender to join the two hoses together, put it in his professional style crimper there, crimped that, and he took off the left-handed thread end on the original hose and put it on here and crimped it on for me. So I've got that. So the next thing I need to do is drill a hole down here somewhere in the front panel that the hose can come through. I'm thinking kind of low, certainly somewhere underneath this brace. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I'll use the Forstner bits, drill a hole here for the hose to pass through, because the hose is going to go out, and then originally I'm just going to have it lay across the top of the tender to connect to the locomotive. Maybe I'll drill 2 holes and have a lower one down there, but if I'm able to rig up a way to have that line low. But so that's all I need to do is drill a hole for the hose to pass through, and I also need to drill some vent holes in the base of the Caboose boxcar. So the reason you want the vent holes is for safety. Propane gas is heavier than air, and you want it to be able to leak out the bottom and not build up inside. It's another reason when I built this thing, you'll notice it's not super airtight. That was never my intention to make this airtight. I wanted a little airflow to be able to go through there. I may add some rubber bumpers or weather stripping and latches and things like I mentioned, but nothing too not trying to make it too airtight or anything. So the next steps, I wanted to shoot this before I took it all apart so that I could post this tonight. My next thing I'm going to do is, like I said, to drill those holes, at least locate them. I'll take the propane tank out and set it on the ground, and then I'll be able to take it apart. And my plan is to use this Liquid Nails construction adhesive. I don't know if any of y'all have ever used it before, but it's great stuff. It's a latex-based glue, and I'll use it on the seam with the roof here and the seam on the roof on the cupola, and I'll probably use it to connect around here too. I'll take this apart, put a bead of glue around there, and screw it all back together again. And so, believe it or not, it's a nice sunny day outside, so I may actually do that outside today. It's Saturday, and that'll be fun. Then I'll let that all dry. And the next thing after that will be to sand it and paint it and start painting some of the detail on it. And I've got some red barn paint to use for the body of it, and some black for the roof and the decking and the doors and window frame outlines. So that's the general game plan. Just a little update on the Caboose. Let me close by showing you one more time the convenient lid arrangement, access to the controls, just enough clearance, and access to the entire body. In case you're wondering, I kind of decided to leave this open here, handy access for little things like oil cans and whatnot like that, and be able to put them on the inside here, maybe some tools and things. So that's the idea, and I will probably, next time you see this, I'll either have it primed or maybe all the way painted, and I'm really excited to get this thing basically done and move on to the next project. I've already got something that I lined up that I want to make. I am starting a new job soon, Monday, and that should take a lot of my time. So we'll see how often I'm able to publish videos, but looking forward to keeping you all posted with these projects. And again, thanks for watching. I hope it's been helpful to somebody building something like this. But one final thought. This design, the basic plan, it occurred to me after I put these lids on. I'm thinking this would make a great basic design for a toy box for a child. So if you've got somebody, the earlier videos I mentioned that I talked about the dimensions, and also on my Instagram page there are some still photos of the pieces. So it would be pretty easy to make for somebody with some basic woodworking tools. The only difficult part would be the design for the beading on the sides that my buddy Russ cut that out on his CNC machine. But if you could find some beaded paneling, or just draw or cut the beads in yourself, be a pretty cool toy box for a kid. So once again, thanks for watching. I hope it's interesting. Please subscribe, like, and share with others. Take care.